I'm Anthony Cirillo. I'm creator of SageStream, the live streaming senior entertainment network. So, social isolation is of epidemic proportions among older folks, especially people 75 and older. It causes health issues, causes cognitive issues. Even in assisted living communities, people report being lonely. Today in a trade journal, first thing I found out today, social isolation is directly connected to dementia. Combine this with senior living and staffing in senior living, which has always been a crisis. It's even worse now after COVID. Every 6 to 24 months, activity directors turn over. So poor quality of care in senior living. We're trying with a very narrow solution, but we think effective, to relieve social isolation and maybe provide a turnkey solution for people in senior living. It's SageStream. The idea is we're doing already weekly live stream, subscription-based, live in the moment, not pre-taped, not on demand, live in the moment, interactive, streaming to adult day centers, assisted living, places like that on a subscription basis. This is a still from our December program. Essentially, we had people from the UK singing. I had a comic in LA. I had a husband and wife duo in Queens. We bring all these people in. We have the show. We disappear after that. Essentially, the idea is everybody's going to have a subscription. You log in. You're going to a central embedded video player. The beauty of that is bandwidth on our end. We don't have to customize programs for every client. Everybody sees the same thing. But that also lends itself to a great diversity of interaction using the chat function. So what makes us different? I'm going to show you a slide in a minute of the marketplace, but we believe, and after 2 years of this, I do believe that we are the only live in the moment entertainment option out there for seniors. We have an international roster of talent. Love to tell you more about those folks, but suffice it to say, they're amazing. If I didn't mention, we're live and interactive. We're connecting music and the arts to cognition. I'm working with a mentor at the Lieber Institute for Brain Development at Johns Hopkins, a program called Music for Dementia in the UK, who's actually giving a lot of our music artists, and also UNCC Gerontology program, where I get a student every semester. And we're relieving social isolation because we're having an intergenerational component to this. We're going to have students. I'm a Rotarian. We're going to start with my Rotary, and we're going to start having students go into these places. We're going to train them through an organization in New York called Youth Engaging Seniors, and we're going to help them go into, move away from the slides. I got you. All right. And we're going to help them go into senior living and provide social support and tech support. And we believe because we're going to be probably a low-price turnkey operation that people in senior living will embrace this. That's a very crowded slide, but there's only 4 quadrants. The bottom quadrants are all education-based. On the left are people who are not doing any interactive. On the right, there's people who are probably using Zoom, so there's a two-way communication back and forth. On the top left are entertainment options, but they're all on demand and canned. We believe we're the only interactive one. The red ones have more cost association, where there's kiosks or tablets or other costs of entry. So here's a little, that's an adult day center that we're broadcasting to. That's me in my studio on the right, and that's what I'm looking at. So we have folks, they'll dial in the day before, they'll tell us, can you do a shout out, it's Mabel's birthday, or can you do this or that? And that's when it becomes really live and interactive. And yes, I'm going to use part of my presentation to show a video because only the people, the viewers can really attest.
Participants that love music. We've been able to find that fulfillment through Anthony. He's been broadcasting to us on a magic board for the past few months, and they have enjoyed it immensely. They're able to interact. They also recognize many of the songs that are being sung. They can even put in requests, song requests. Sometimes they get some shout-outs right in their day because he knows us. Can you see us? And we see laughter, fun, clapping, singing along, all kinds of things. It's a wonderful, wonderful service.
So again, we're trying to convey that, is it just as good as me being here on this stage, being there? We think it is in many cases. So there's a lot of brain science around this. I have a whole video that connects this. But basically, again, we're trying to use entertainment. We're not trying to do classroom. Don't get a paintbrush and paint something along with us. We're just trying to show that there's things that light up in the brain when you entertain. We have a lot of traction. I'm running out of time, so I'll speak quick. We are already broadcasting, and we're going to start a soft launch in February. We're working with the National Association of Activity Professionals. We have already had major press and endorsers. The team is me and me and me. I'm a musician, but I'm also a healthcare professional. I fell into aging care. I was working in hospitals. I was playing in bands at night and touring and things like that. And then I went into an adult daycare center and assisted living and started singing for older folks, and it changed my life. Our idea is to go through the continuum of senior living and also then go to individual subscriptions, but eventually be a Medicare Advantage benefit. And we're trying to talk about the idea of social prescribing. And my ask is simply, we want to get a 1-year runway because I'm bootstrapping the whole thing. Thank you.
Anthony, that was great. I lived in an old folks home for a week last year. Awesome. I did. It was a great experience. So you make a big deal out of it being live. Why do you care so much about that?
Because of the interaction. Because anybody could pull up a YouTube video and watch it. And so what's the point? But if the day before, or we have a set, I've been doing a bunch of free Tuesday concerts, and now I kind of know who's tuning in. And I ask for them every week. I send out an email to them, and I say, tell me what's going on in your place. And as Michelle attested to, it's the idea that you're kind of there with them in the moment. And they'll have fun with you because, an adult day center, you think it's all Frank Sinatra. Well, they wanted Tennessee whiskey. They wanted Happy Together from the Turtles. They wanted Happy from Pharrell. They'll try to stump you, and we'll have some fun. And so that's that. Okay, so
this is a little more like, so I lived at the Legacy Village in Stillwater, Oklahoma. I highly recommend it. If you're an old person in Stillwater, live there. So this is, hey everybody, we're gonna have an event tomorrow, and it's for us. Like, it's not for the whole world, it's for us. Is that right?
Well, that would be an ideal situation if we had enough shows and could customize it. But if I was going to, let's say a Brookdale senior living community, and we grew the company where we could have separate, shows, then it would kind of be for them. But right now, it's for everyone, with the idea that they will interact during the chat or help us beforehand.
Does the home pay, or do the residents pay, or both?
The idea is that the assisted living communities will pay, or the adult day center.
What does the show cost?
Well, what we hope to do is eventually have, right now we're doing a 16-week bundle. It's one show a week. Sure. I have 16 artists, 12 of my roster members. I'm charging $100. It's $6.25 per show. Now the Rotary has helped me there because they're giving me leeway to be able to pay my artists, sure, right? And then after that, it's like, okay, where do I go next? The idea is, and based just on that slide, if we can get 100 senior living communities at $125 per month, we could probably break even and then go for individual subscribers.
I know you know this. You got to wildly raise your prices. Like, you got to. Yeah. I mean, like, I know at the very beginning you're like, oh, I can't charge very much. Dude, 10x your prices tomorrow, in my opinion. Okay. Right? I'm serious. But Scott?
Yeah, I totally agree with that comment. And I thought you did a really nice job. And it's a really interesting service you're looking at offering, and much needed. So I love the way you kind of start with the problem at the top. What problem, or what's the pain point? What are we trying to solve for? Also, from my perspective, thought the back end of your story was kind of an interesting one. This was personal for you. You worked in this environment. You were there. You've seen the reaction. So, I might move that a little forward in my storytelling, just because I think it grounds you a little bit as to why you came about doing this, right? So would agree entirely with Chris on your pricing model. We all know when you get started, you kind of just want clients. You need people.
Don't be afraid to
feedback.
ask for. Don't be afraid to
Yeah.
ask for money. Like don't, because when you ask for too little, it makes it seem like it's not good. Right? It really does. Like honestly, like I mean, $1,000 for the next 16-week thing minimum.
Yeah, and you,
Right? Seriously. Yeah.
I would agree with that, and you're inevitably creating a problem that you're going to have to solve down the road, right? Like, so now you've undervalued yourself for months. Well, guess what? You know, that's just going to cause you a problem down the road. So anyway, I thought, all in all, a very nice presentation. I think visually, probably some work to be done, maybe on pulling kind of a little more excitement into this. To the visual aspect of the presentation. I thought your testimonial was great, right? Like hearing that feedback directly as an investor type, I think is important.
Do you mind? Can you go back to the table that showed all the competitors, right? So I know I'm not in the target market. Is anybody doing well out of these groups? Go back, the one with that guy. Is anybody doing good? Do any of these have good businesses?
There's one company called IN2L. I don't even know if I have them on there, but they've been around for 25 years. And they have kiosks that they roll from room to room. So it's a huge barrier, price barrier. But they're in 3,750 communities. And I would say they're probably a market leader, but then when you think about how many assisted living communities are, how many adult daycare, how many home care companies, they really only still have a small percentage of the market.
Yeah. Are you familiar with the product Cameo? Do you know what Cameo is?
No.
Do y'all know what Cameo is? Everybody know the people? Cameo is. So at Cameo, you can go online and you can hire a B-list celebrity to make a 1 or 2 minute video for a person, and they charge money, right? And when you were talking about this, I thought, holy cow, like you're just lined right up with them, because there's a lot of talent out there that would entertain folks like yours, right? In exchange for surprisingly low amounts of money, right? And if you like, it feels to me like you've got a decent idea, and it's just all about distribution. Like, how are you going to get places to want your service?
That's a good question, and that's been the hardest. And I've just gone through the Riot Accelerator, and I'll be at the Lake Norman group as well. And I was hung up on my whole build my platform, and they kept telling me, you better start worrying about sales and marketing. And I've always been a marketing guy in healthcare, so sales has been really hard. So even with my influencer network on my healthcare side and all the social media I do, it's been a slog to try to get the word out. That's why I've been, started to do the free stuff so I can get some testimonials, so I could build it up, so I could spread that word out, because there's nothing like the person who's enjoying it to tell other people. And even that's been hard, just the word of mouth, to get them to spread that. So I would say a blind spot of mine, I definitely need some sales help. But again, I'm the one-man band here, so.
Yeah, I think like you need a partner, man. You need somebody who, like, don't try to go learn how to do that stuff on your own. Find somebody who's already good at it and who cares about this, right? How many of you, raise your hand if you know a person who lives in an assisted living facility that you care about, right? Like, holy cow, like everybody, you know that. Everybody in the world already has a connection to this. Go find somebody who will help you, like, evangelize this thing, right? Because it's a fun idea. You know, similar?
No, I think
Cool.
that's all good advice. I mean, I'd be curious to know if you've had any conversations with any of the big operators, try to bring in bulk at once.
Yeah, I actually have, and it was 3 months. It was 3 months into us launching this. So I didn't even have a Sage Stream name. I didn't even have anything at that point except some live stream I was doing out of my house. But because I knew somebody in the healthcare space, they introduced me to the largest assisted living provider. They asked for a proposal, but it sort of got stopped in its tracks because we didn't have a deliverable. Exactly. So now we're trying to revive that discussion because, of course, the person I gave the proposal to has left. And that's a blessing and a curse because they'd be almost too big to start with. I'd be afraid that, you don't want to start? Let's start with the very much. Yeah.
I mean, once you get through the production side of this equation,
Don't say that to
as
yourself.
many people as you can get to eyeballs on
we
it.
have the production now.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
because I've worked 2 years on that part, yeah.
Who wants to say something to Anthony? Yeah, hey man.
So you mentioned getting into the Medicare Advantage space, right?
Yeah.
And so the big guys like the Silver Fits, the Papa Pals, like these guys have these platforms are rolling out. I think what you should really focus on and what's unique is your ability to create content. So those guys are already selling into United, Humana, those guys getting a PMPM from those plans. What you need to go to them and say, hey, look, I don't want to recreate this platform. You'll never beat those guys. They've raised hundreds of millions of dollars, right? They're huge companies. But what they're struggling with is creating live content. And I think if you have a bank of people that you can create fresh content over and over again, you go to Silver and Fit, you go to Papa Pals and say, guys, just use my content and I'll take a fraction of your PMPM. That's how you're going to get into as many faces as possible in one shot, right? Instead of going to one home at a time and sell, that's a sales trudge. Versus if you got one contract with Silver and Fit, right, to sell into their 2.5 million Medicare members overnight, that would be a really interesting play, and they would be open to listening because they know the value.
You have to get his contact information and talk with him, right? I mean, you have to. You have. This is, by the way, what happens at Pitch Breakfast. Yeah, we have time for one more? Yeah, go ahead. Henry.
Yeah, love it. Really.
Hey, Henry.
Just what you said, Chris. I think you are a content producer. I think you need expert to take your game content-wise to the next level. Consider talking to content producers for churches.
Churches,
Think
okay.
of mega churches.
Yeah.
People that work there.
Yeah.
Amazing content producers. You can get them because during the week, they're not always fully available.
Thank you.
Good. Get his contact information.
Got it.
Like, and one of the points, sir, what's your name? Josh. One of the points Josh made that's dead right, and I would say it to you too, is this. There's a lot of times entrepreneurs get really focused on the product, and you have to have a good product. You have to. There are a million products that got nowhere because they have no distribution, right? And you must think about distribution. You have to. And if you get totally focused on the product and you don't think about distribution, you'll just be stuck. It's really frustrating when you get there, right? And so you got to spend an equal amount of time. Did we love this guy or what?
Yeah, it's good.
Did we love this guy? Yay,
Good stuff.
Anthony.
Thank you.